This is Uncharted Waters. I want to make a simple video on a basic quest. I say basic quest simply because some quests get far more elaborate, multiple destinations, multiple things to do. And at the time of this, my wife and I were getting ready to do a major endeavor, so I have a little more money than I normally carry on me, but at the same time, I guess it's not that far off from what I normally carry. As your ship develops, get bigger and bigger ships, larger crews, etc., longer voyages, you have to have money on you to pay your crews. Otherwise, they get upset for some reason. But I guess it's not that big a deal. My other character pretty routinely goes around with $500,000 on him, simply because that's the level he's at. If I'm doing longer voyages, I will carry more or less, depending on a few things, where I'm going and what's going on. But back to the point at hand, an actual quest. As you see here, this character is maritime is his focus. He's highest level there, and with that, he has the most points and everything there, followed by trade, because I seem to not be able to do a character without trade in it, and then adventure being the last. I'm very good with trade. That's my strength. This is the Adventure Guild. Looking at the adventure quests here, what you need to do is in the lower right, you'll see a listing of skills that are required. If it's red, it means you don't have that skill. If it's a language, it's not a big deal, because if you have body language, you can still communicate. Sometimes it will still be an issue if you're supposed to read or do certain things with that language, but I have found many times that's not a big deal. Now, if you don't have the skill, as long as somebody in your group does, so if I was doing something that required survey, for example, if I didn't have survey, I could have somebody in my group, my wife, for example, with her character having search, survey, can't remember what the other skills are specifically. She has all the archaeology, theology, all sorts of stuff. She really likes adventure, and she does want to do a video showing an adventure quest more in detail. After selecting the quest, we run off to port. Running around the city can take some time, and I'm sure it's not going to be that interesting for you, so we'll kind of skip ahead. But this quest I got is basically just run over to this other port, talk to some people, get some information, and run back. In doing so, now you might be wondering, well, why do the quests? I'm not a big quest-oriented player. I like to just go off and do stuff. I think I was level 12 before I even found out there was a schools to go through to get things, and the quests I never even looked at. As a result, my character has much less fame than my wife, who does heavy quest playing. She's a big quest player. When you do a quest, it gives you added points and experience in that area. So if it's a merchant quest, it gives you merchant experience. If it's a adventure quest, it gives you adventure experience. If your character is maritime like this one, everything he does in maritime gets more points in maritime, and less points for everything else. So if he does a maritime quest, he gets massive points. If he does adventure, he gets very little. So anything I'm doing in adventure is giving me very little. That's why that's my weakest thing. That's why I grabbed this quest, to try to get a few extra points real quick, raining in the high seas. As such, you can actually collect water and prolong your time at sea. I have heard people say that they could stay at sea indefinitely. Yeah, if I did some prep work, I probably could as well, having several different foods, etc., but we're off topic. So you do some quests in your weak area to help give a little more points to that. The other way you can do it is change your focus from time to time, being a maritime, then switch over to adventure, then switch over to trade, things like that. I'm not really liking that kind of style, just personal preference. I like having a character with a focus, a thing, everything's set. If I need to do any casting or anything, I grab that character. He's already got all the focuses, everything's set. I don't have to do a quick quest, run over to this town, do that to get the documents to allow me to change my focus, things like that. I just don't like to do. So I have one character that is my handicrafts character, level 15. He can build anything I want, one character that's my casting character. That's this one. He's maritime casting, etc. He can build anything I want in that category. My other character is also a cook, and that's another thing. So I can, depending on what I want to do, I can pull in that character, do whatever it is. They supply my other characters, and with my wife and her characters, back and forth, we keep everyone going. So because this character is weak in adventure, I'm doing these little quests from time to time just to get some extra points and boost it up. Also, sailing helps your adventure, but again, he gets less experience in this category because he is maritime. But if I have to fire my guns, boy, I'm getting massive experience and somebody's getting hurt. And once you arrive at town, go into town. Now I have to go find the person I have to talk to. And there's little drop-down menus that will tell you give you information on your quest. It's very helpful. Sometimes when you take a quest, you do several other things. For example, if you have a quest going from Amsterdam all the way out to India to do something, you're doing a lot of other things en route, and you get over to India. What was I doing over here? So this way you can do a quick check. Oh yeah, that's right, that's my mission. I have to talk to this person. It actually has nice little windows. They added this a while back. You can click on that and it will give you hints as to who you're supposed to talk to, what you're supposed to do. There were a couple quests people were having a real hard time with because it just didn't give enough information description to find out what you're supposed to do. And part of that's because it's translated. Originally this game is all Japanese, and being translated, there are some things you will see that are not quite right in their English. So, such is life. It's part of the adventure. Language barriers, international trade. But once you talk to the people, you're then free to do whatever you want. Well, actually, I could do anything I wanted anyway, but me being me, took care of my quest first. Then I went and see if there's anything I can do trade-wise, any benefits, make money on anything. Nope, nothing of use. So, we're going to head back. And in situations like this, it is largely sailing. That's why I'm kind of skipping through some of the sailing. But you're always, before you set sail, well, if it's a short run, it's not a big deal, but out of habit, always top off your vigor. And when you're sailing, you can fish and collect, procurement, all sorts of other things to get more resources that will use up the vigor. For longer runs, you definitely want to make sure you're topped off before you leave. Shorter runs aren't as big of a deal, but it largely depends on the level of your character. Because each level you go up, you get 5 more points in vigor. So if you're a total of like 60 levels, you have a lot more vigor to play with than if you're level, combined level 12. So it's just range and abilities correspond. So we're going to set sail and head for home, or to the port I got the quest from. You can also complete the quests in the taverns of other major towns, but since I was going back to the same port, so my wife and I can embark on our quest, then we just do that. So I'll skip ahead on the travel because, again, watching me sail probably isn't that interesting to you. And here we are approaching Seville. And upon returning, it's just a matter of going back to the... Again, some quests, when you get back, you have to talk to or report to certain people to actually complete the quest. Some of the quests, you just go back to where you got it, the adventure or GM. Actually, the adventure... GM is the guy in the back. And I always forget the other guy, the quest guy, where you actually get the quests from. You can tell I'm not a major quest player because I can't remember all these guys' titles and names off the top of my head, I do enough. Oh, I started to mention earlier, the main reason you want to do quests is to get your fame up. Some equipment requires certain levels of fame and certain types of fame. You have to get your fame doing this or that. Sometimes just a total fame. Once you have your fame, then you can also get titles from your country, your nationality, travel permits for the port permits, different other things like that. So that's really why it's important. If you like staying in one little area, you don't really have to, but it will eventually unlock, but it'll just take a lot longer. And some things may never unlock for the game. Things with your leadership. So if you want to go in that area, it is important to build that up. But that's basically how you do a quest. Again, this is a simple little quest. I have had quests where 5 or 6 different steps going around. Go talk to this person, talk to that person, sail over this port, talk to that person, sail over here, dig here, search around this area. So they can get much more involved than this one. So, just so you know, game on.